So, have you ever felt just utterly depleted after a relationship ends? Even when you knew, like, deep down wasn't good for you? Or maybe you've been through that really confusing thing of, missing someone, but at the same time, knowing they absolutely weren't the right person for you. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a conversation that really gets to the heart of healing after what people often call toxic love.
Mm,
Our mission here is really to pull out the practical wisdom from this dialogue to help you figure out how to navigate that really complex emotional landscape and, well, reclaim yourself. For so many people, at the end of a really difficult relationship, it can feel like this profound loss of self. It's something we heard repeated, actually. A really heartbreaking sentiment someone shared was, I gave him everything, and I feel like I lost myself in the process.
yeah.
That's
Uh,
a that's a powerful statement, isn't it?
it absolutely is. And what's really striking, I think, is that it's not just about the immediate pain, this sadness of a breakup. It's more that unsettling realization when you look in the mirror and you've just stopped recognizing the person looking back. That feeling, that sense of kind of self-erasure. It's such a strong signal that something genuinely toxic has been going on, something that's been slowly, maybe quietly, eroding who you are.
That really shifts the perspective on toxicity, doesn't it? Because I think we often imagine, the big screaming matches, the obvious conflicts. But what about those more subtle signs, the things people might completely miss? Because it isn't always a scream, right?
No, definitely not. Often, it's rarely a scream. Toxic love can actually whisper. It often shows up through things like neglect or gaslighting, that insidious manipulation where you start to doubt your own reality, your own feelings. And sometimes it's just silence, a withholding. What becomes really clear when you look at these experiences is that the first truly crucial step towards healing isn't about like jumping straight into fixing it. It's about actually recognizing that subtle, quiet pain, that slow erosion, just seeing it for what it is. That recognition, that's the real foundation for everything else.
Okay, so once you see it, once you recognize it, that's when the journey of reclaiming yourself really kicks off. And that initial feeling, that sense of being broken or like you've lost a part of yourself, that's incredibly real. It's so valid. But, what we found exploring these experiences, it offered this really powerful message of hope, which is that part isn't actually gone forever. It's more like it's just waiting to be filled by you again and seer. So for someone maybe standing right at the beginning of that journey feeling that way, what does starting actually look like, practically speaking?
Yeah, that's a great question because this self-reclamation, it isn't some abstract idea. It's incredibly practical. It really is about starting small. Like, try to recall what you genuinely loved about yourself before the relationship even started. Think about that person you were. Maybe you were, I don't know, really funny, even if someone later told you that you were too much. Remember that. Then the next step is making a conscious commitment. Decide you're going to bring that version of yourself back. It means, rebuilding your daily routine, maybe piece by piece. Journaling your emotions can be huge, not to push them down, but to really understand them, get curious about them. And this is crucial. Surround yourself with people who see your light, not people who dim it.
That paints a really clear picture for moving forward, definitely. But, even with that clarity, I imagine for many people, the thought of opening up again, well, it can bring up a lot of fear. How do we navigate that? Especially that fear of falling back into old patterns or, attracting similar dynamics again.
Well, that's a very real concern, absolutely. And what seems clear is that rebuilding trust, especially romantic trust, it primarily comes from rebuilding the relationship you have with yourself first. So this means really getting serious about learning to set boundaries and enforcing them, recognizing those red flags sooner, and actually listening to your gut when you see them. And consistently, day by day, honoring your own needs, making them non-negotiable. The profound shift that happens here, I think, is that you stop needing love and start choosing it wisely. That's where the real resilience comes from. It's an internal shift.
And maybe the most, I don't know, empowering insight that came through in this deep dive is this idea healing isn't really about forgetting what happened. It's much more about remembering who you are. It's not about pretending the hurt didn't happen, right? It's about loving yourself so deeply that you refuse to accept pain disguised as love again.
Absolutely, that sums it up beautifully.
Yeah.
And look, if there's one final thought to really carry forward from all this, it's just to remember that healing is rarely, if ever, linear. It's messy. There are going to be days you miss them. There will be days you cry. And then there will be days you feel incredibly powerful and whole again, sometimes all in the same day. But through all of that, just know you are actively, consciously rebuilding a home inside yourself. Your heart might be healing. It might carry scars, sure, but it's still beating. And that's a sign you still have love left, especially for yourself. this process, this rebuilding of self, this journey you find yourself on, is a love story worth telling?
So the question really becomes, are you ready to start writing that story for yourself now?